Hi there, welcome back. So this is part 2 of the Octopus and Ammonite project. Now you can see Wayne showing you a couple of bowl moulds here. They're slightly offset with the cavity part. We're going to fill them full of lovely aquacast resin, which is an eco resin from Elichem, and Wayne has just worked out what he needs for each of the containers. So the small one and then the large one. So don't forget, when you're doing this, add on a sort of like an extra 5 to 10% to allow for shrinkage as well. We're also going to use these. Now these, I can't see the detail very well because that's very, very bright red that's come up. But these are inlays and they're by Red Hot Molds, and you can purchase those via Etsy. As usual, everything that is used in today's video will be linked in the description box. Now, if we can't link something that we've used, it's usually because it's either no longer in stock or it's from our crafting stash. We're also going to use some of this beautiful Olympic gold mica powder. Now the mica powder, the glitters are actually obtained from the lovely Jules at Resin Jules and Helena at Resin etreSupplies. And again, their information will be linked in the description box. So we're going to try this. Now, we don't know if this is going to work, and this is actually our first time using inlays. So Wayne's got the mica powder, a dry brush, and he's just brushed it onto those lovely inlays. Now, going to decide what ones we're going to put where, and then he's just securing them just by applying a bit of pressure to the inlay, and it sticks to the inside of the silicone mould. And then he just repeated the process. Can you see it's there? It's just sort of sticking to the inside of the mould. Don't forget to stick them the right way round, of course, as well. Because, when you're going to demould this bowl, it's going to be, obviously, the other way around. So just make sure that the outer ones are stuck correctly to the inside of the mould, as well as the inside ones. So we wanted to try and get a good effect on the outside and the inside of the bowl mould. Now, we've not done this before. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if the mica powder is going to pick up. So we'll wait and see what happens. You're coming along with this on this journey with us. Bearing in mind, we haven't had a lot of luck so far, as this is a part 2 video. Anyway, Wayne is now measuring out the aquacast following the manufacturer's guidelines and instructions. It's produced by a company called Elichem. We love using aquacast. Obviously you can use resincrete, you can use jasminite, whatever you feel comfortable using. So then once he's measured the water into the powder, dear me, or you can measure your powder into your water, totally up to you, whatever you prefer. He's then actually taking a fork, this is I think a wooden fork, and just mixing it in. And usually it's lovely and smooth, it mixes well, I say usually, and you get this sort of consistency. It's like double cream. Now this thickened really quickly, and we're not sure why, because we did exactly the same measuring technique, followed the instructions. Yes, I don't know if it's to do with the weather over here currently. It's just, yeah. Also just noticed there's a few little lumps going in there, and those unfortunately will become evident when we do the demould of these 2 bowls. Nothing, it doesn't detract from it. We're not going to be putting these up for purchase or up for sale. We're going to be keeping these. Now what you didn't see is Wayne did do some very gentle agitating of the mould and tapping, because you know what the situation is when you use an eco resin like this. You've got to encourage all the little bubbles, the micro bubbles and so on, to come up to the top, so they're not caught up in your finished piece. So he's done that, he's put that to one side, and now he's following exactly the same process as before, but with a much larger bowl. Now what I will say is you can make these out of regular epoxy resin. You can do that. If you do that, they won't be anywhere near as heavy as these are, because these are incredibly heavy. So repeated the whole process. We left them a good 2 hours to cure. And then this is Wayne doing the demold. Now, this has been sped up. Something else I need to forewarn you about is that he will be using UV light. So just watch out for that, you know, if you've got a sensitivity to that kind of light. Now, some of the ones from the outside of the bowl came off very easy. The ones from the inside, not so much. And that's just really where the aquacast has managed to seep in underneath the inlay itself. So he's just using a little pair of plastic tweezers there, just carefully lifting it. Once you get the edge of them, they come out. But go careful, obviously don't use anything sharp to do this. And then any additional little bits of aquacast, which were where they shouldn't be, he then just got rid of just by sort of going over it with the tweezers, you know, just so he got the edge that he wanted. So that was the small one. Now here goes with the big one. Obviously bits of this video have been sped up because otherwise it would be a very lengthy video. It's already just over 20 minutes in length. So if you've joined us today, hello. Have you seen part 1 of this? If not, I would stop now and go and check part 1. See what happened. That's all I'm going to say. Just wait and see what happens. So as you could see there, probably a bit more evident, when Wayne demolded the larger bowl, there were lots of little bubbles. So bubbles that had occurred, and because we'd put the inlays on the inside of the mould, we were really nervous about tapping the mould like we would normally. So we didn't do it as much as we would normally, and therefore we've then got these tiny little micro bubbles. Now this, do you remember this? This is the octopus that we did in part 1. It did not survive this project. It went wrong. You can see, look at that, it's awful with the legs and so on. Anyway, that's enough of that one. This is also the big one. This is such a shame. It really is such a shame, but it just didn't work. And as I said, if you want to know more about that, then go and check out part 1. Same thing with the ammonite. Look at that. It's just not right. It's just not right. And that was using the 4-hour demold resin. So I made the decision in the previous video to re-pour the ammonites and also the little octopus. Much better. Used regular epoxy resin, and Wayne is now just manipulating it because it's still a tiny bit soft and bendable. And he's going to secure it in place with some UV resin, so good old UV resin. Now, obviously, if you prefer using glue, use glue, but we prefer to use UV resin. So he's just making sure that he's putting enough on the little tentacles that are going to touch the bowl so that he can secure it. Now, this is very much a 3D octopus. It's not dead flat, as you can see. And in order to manipulate it and get those little tentacles where he wanted them to be, he actually had to place a little mini shell, you might see it in a little while, just underneath the main head of the octopus. So then he's curing it with the UV light. He let it cure for a couple of minutes, and that's it all stuck firmly how he wanted it to be. Now, we dusted the ammonite inlays with the gold mica powder. They didn't come out as gold as we wanted them to, so we're now using, and this is sped up, some beautiful liquid gold gilding paint. This is a recent purchase. When we opened it, it did need to have a little bit of a stir because some of the ingredients within the paint had separated slightly. So just give it a little stir and then you're ready to go. And he's just using a very fine, small paintbrush, ordinary artist brush, just to paint over all the details of that lovely ammonite. Can you see how it's just bringing it to life? It's now got more of more relevance, should we just say. It's got more of a presence. It looks the colour that we want it to be. It is coordinating more with that beautiful octopus, which is full of glitter, full of glitter. And these look lovely now. Now, as you can see, we do have an uneven cure in tone, white tone, or more of a natural tone of the aquacast. Now, yes, in future, we probably would add some white pigment colouring to it whilst we're mixing up the aquacast, just to make sure that when it does cure, it is all completely one uniform colour. But, you know, I actually quite like this, even with its little imperfections, or uniqueness, should we just say. And there you go, he's just painting the outside ones there as well. They look stunning. Now you can see a bit more evident, there's a bit more of a close-up of these tiny little holes. Now we decided to make a feature, so we've got a minute little, I think these are called Q-tips. Obviously you can use a micro brush, and he's just dipped it in that gilding paint and gone all around the edge of the bowl. He did this to the large bowl and the small bowl and made it more of a feature, so we've got almost like a little dotted sparkly bit. There you go. Now we've had a few little accidents there, in fact was one large accident there. So we thought, right, okay, let's put some shells, let's keep going with the decorating. We just needed, one, we needed to cover this up, and two, the octopus wasn't quite, it didn't blend very well in with the top of the bowl. So we've decided obviously to attach these shells. Now we then proceeded to do some more all round and in with the octopus itself. So just got some more there, some more UV resin, popped it on the underside of the shell, and then secured it in place and cured it with UV light. These shells were wonderful, actually. Now I did sort through this large box of shells that we had, put them all in different sizes, shapes and colours. Although actually I found that quite therapeutic. You obviously don't have to do that, but yeah, just make sure that you're putting the right kind of size of shell in with wherever you're gonna place it. Okay. So we've also got some of this lovely white quartz sand. Now this is meant for aquariums, I think. And we're going to mix it up with some UV resin, and we're also going to put that in round by the octopus too. So just decanting some of this UV resin into a little pot there. Quite a bit actually is going in. And then we're going to add quite a lot of this lovely white quartz sand. It's very fine sand, this. And we opted to use this colour rather than using a natural sand. But obviously you can use whatever colour you want to. Or you can leave this process out. Just put some more shells in. Whatever you want to do. There we go. So just applying that then with a little... This is actually a wooden coffee stir stick. And putting it in all around the surface there. So it looks almost like he's come along, this octopus, and he's moving his tentacles in amongst the sand and almost sort of trying to hide or bury himself in. There we go. So as you can see, Wayne's already applied quite a lot more there and just fixing it in. He also puts it in around the back. And there is a little shell just supporting the octopus underneath, all held in place with UV resin. There we go. There we go. Bit more round the back. Just so it's all cohesive, it all follows and flows really nicely. I have to say, doing these little extra finishing touches and things is something that I really like doing myself, but I also like watching being done. There's something sort of relaxing about it. But anyway, I digress. So if you've joined us today, I don't know if I've said this before, apologies if I haven't. Hello. Thank you for watching. If you've subscribed to our channel, nice to see you back again. If you haven't, why not subscribe? It's free to do so. We release videos twice a week currently on a Friday and a Sunday at 5 p.m. UK time. There we go. So Wayne is now just applying a few more shells in strategic places, or trying to be random, let's put it that way. Also going to pop on some of this lovely little, I'm going to call them golden nuggets. They're just sort of painted gold little pieces of, I don't know, I don't think it's glass, but I mean, I could be wrong. It could be glass. But again, he's just popping them on. He's put some UV resin on, and then he is placing these lovely little golden nuggets down. So if you've joined us in the live chat, hi to everybody in the live chat. Have you recovered from Friday's video where things were going wrong? Hopefully you'll agree that things are going right now. Even though we've done additions and we've done extra bits, and again, some things haven't quite gone right, but we're trying a lot of these are firsts for us. So we just want to see what works, what doesn't work, what to remember in the future, and so on. Right, so this is the smaller bowl of the two, and Wayne is just going to repeat the process by adding in some shells on the outside so that they match, they coordinate with the larger bowl as well. Now, what I haven't said is that when these were finished, Wayne did actually go back and just sand smooth the bottoms of both of the bowls. You do need to do that unless you've managed to cure your aquacast or your eco resin and it's completely smooth. You will need to just go back and actually just sand those down. Now you can do that, by all means do that before you do any of the additional decorating processes that you've seen us do in this video. So we don't have another little octopus to put on the top of this bowl, but we do have one of the ammonites that worked. So that was from the second pour where we used regular epoxy resin and not a 4-hour demold. So Wayne selected the one that he wants to use and the shape and the size, and then is just going to fix it to this bowl with a UV light. He's then going to repeat the same processes that he did with the larger bowl. So that they've got to be cohesive. There's, as a matching set, you can see there, as if by magic, some of it's been done. So he's applied some of that lovely white quartz sand that he mixed with the UV resin. He's applied some more shells, and he's also put in some of those lovely little golden nugget chips. So there we are. So he's going to give it one last blast with the UV light. And now the final bit, and that's applying a sealant. Now, this is not watertight, and we have no intentions of putting water in these bowls. So we thought we would use a wax seal instead. Now this is a first for us. Lots of firsts of times of doing things in this video. But we're using this beautiful wax sealant, which we've seen another artist using, and thought we'd give it a go. So just apply it on using a microfiber cloth, and just make sure you work it in really well, and then you leave it. You leave it for 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and then you go back with their little white cloth that they supply you with, and you just buff it. So you buff the wax off. So it'll leave a very, very thin seal of wax there. Now it is our intention not to put any kind of water or liquid in these bowls. Obviously, if you want to, then you do need to make sure they're completely sealed, and in that case I would use one of the liquid sealants instead. We're actually going to put some I think they're called air plants in them, and they'll go in our kitchen, I think, or in our garden room. But those, I'm absolutely so pleased with those. So that's the little white buffing cloth that comes with the set. So that comes with the wax and also another applicating tool as well. But there we are, just buffing it back off again. Obviously bits of this video, as I said, were sped up. Take your time when doing this, you know, just to make sure that you get all of it off. And this is one of 3 end shots. So just wanted to show you a bit more of a close-up on those lovely little golden dots, the deep rich gold of the ammonites and the golden glitter ammonite with the lovely shells and the sand and the little golden nuggets. And here we go, this is the bigger one with the octopus. So much glitter, really packs a punch, that glitter. There we go. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us for the final part of the 2-part series for these octopus bowls. A little bit of a rocky journey to start off with, shall we just say, but we always say we're going to upload and show you when things don't quite go to plan and when they do. But look at that again, the detail, absolutely beautiful. And then back to the small one again with the beautiful ammonite and shells and sand. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll see you again on Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. Take care. Bye-bye.